Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next instalment on the Quantum Leap 24-hour non-stop business show going around the world. And it's my pleasure to welcome to the show at this point, Maddy Alexander-Grout. Maddy, welcome to the program.
Hello, thanks John for having me. Lovely to be here.
Absolutely, Maddy. You have a business called My VIP Card, which has had an interesting journey. Why did you start that? What was the aha moment? Can you just let us know? Because people like to know that beginnings.
Yeah, so I had a bit of a funny start into business. I wasn't really planning on being a business person. It just kind of happened. I had a really quite a nasty mental health condition when my son was born, called postnatal psychosis, or postpartum psychosis, as some people call it, PP for short, which was a really quite life-altering, nasty condition. And I set up a support group for parents to help them to connect with their community, to help them to get support and advice and stuff when they needed it the most. And I realized in that journey that I had a lot of businesses at my disposal, and I had the ability to help a lot of people. So I came up with the idea for my VIP card, as it helps to reward the community. It helps to reward the people who are in that community, and it just helps them to get things like discounts and cashback and discounted tickets and rewards for various things. And I wanted parents to initially save money. Since then, we've grown quite substantially. It's not just for parents anymore. We're quite a large reward scheme. But yeah, it was a penny drop moment at 4 o'clock in the morning, one very sleepless night.
Interesting. And you're prone to these ideas in the middle of the night, so I'm told.
Yes, it's really irritating. I actually suffer really badly with insomnia. And as soon as I get an idea, that's it, bang, I can't get back to sleep again. So yeah, I have lots of 4 a.m. ideas, and therefore I'm constantly exhausted.
So, Maddy, a lot of people struggle when they start off a new business in actually naming it. I remember once where I did an amalgamation with another company. We locked ourselves away for 5 days, and it took the first 3 days to come up with a name. It was so frustrating. How did you come up with the name?
Well, so I wanted something that people felt was valuable to them, which was where the my came from. So I thought, if you use the word my, people take ownership of it. They feel like they're part of something. So that was where the my bit came from. VIP was, it actually, in the early days, actually used to stand for very important parent. But obviously it stands for very important person. So we've kind of kept that as the name moving forward. The VIP part of it, we wanted people to get VIP rewards. We wanted people to get VIP treatment from being a customer of ours, VIP service from being a partner. So we just felt that the word VIP really resonated with our audience and what we stood for. And it was a card. It was a plastic card. So that's where the My VIP card came from. We're actually in the process of a full rebrand at the moment. And you guys can be the first to know that we're actually changing the name to My VIP Rewards, because we feel that we reward people, we reward the community. We're all about customer benefits, employee benefits, member benefits, and reward just encompasses all of that. So we're really excited.
Oh, cool. So I know you cover quite a few bases.
We do.
So, Maddy, I often talk about starting with the end in mind. And if I'd have known that when I started my businesses 30, 40 years ago, I would have been in a different place. And I know originally you started off as the Hampshire business rewards.
We did.
And you saw the end in mind, and it became a different business. But what's your end game plan with all of this? Do you start with the end in mind?
We are currently starting with the end in mind. So we feel that we've got a global product. We feel that we can help communities across the world. And actually, yes, we did start in Hampshire, and I didn't have the end in mind in that place, and it's just evolved and evolved. So now that we do have the end in mind, we're making decisions based around the business on being a global recognizable brand. So it's exciting times for us at the moment.
Yeah, and yeah, you've just recently completed a massively successful crowdfunding exercise. Can you just, because there's a lot of people out there looking for funding, where did that start from, and just give us the brief overview for a start, and then we can dive into that a bit more.
Yeah, so we're essentially a tech business, and tech businesses need investment. Really, there's no kind of two ways about it. To be able to enable people to use our product, we need a constant flow, a constant cash flow. You know, we're constantly trying to improve the business, and also, you know, we need a team to grow. So we had the idea that a crowdfunding campaign would be something that would get us noticed, and that would put us a bit more on the map. And that it really has done what it needed to do. We decided to go for quite a small raise to start with, just to kind of test the water a little bit to see where we go. And now that we've got the end in mind, we know that we need a bit more investment. So we're now talking to other investors. In fact, I went to meet some yesterday who I think are on board, which is really exciting. So we have the end in mind, and we're going to go for it.
Yep. So, Maddy, you raised...
It's a stressful thing, though, I have to say. Yep. Crowdfunding is a full-time job. There is no way on earth that I would have been able to complete it, or even attempt to do it, without my crowdfunding specialist, Nicola Toner, who has been amazing in the whole process.
So get a specialist. That's good advice.
Very much so.
I talk about outsourcing what you don't like and what you're not good at, because if you give it to people that do like it and are good at it, they'll get it done 10 times better and 10 times faster.
Totally agree.
So, Maddy, can you tell us what the raise was and what equity you gave up as a result of that?
Yes, so we raised 84,000. We gave away 4.4%, I think it was, for that amount. So our valuation is 1.8 million. And I think we're going to be probably increasing that valuation pretty rapidly, based on the growth that we've got planned.
Yep. And the interesting part of that is that you didn't have 1.8 million of turnover on the back of that. So as a tech raise, you were able to leverage your current turnover quite dramatically.
Indeed, yeah. It was weird, actually, because Crowdcube asks you about your valuation. They give you this tool that you input all of your stuff into, and it kind of just spits out a number. And we were like, whoa, that's quite big. But actually, compared to some other similar type businesses who have done raises, I think our valuation was fairly modest. So yeah, watch this space moving forward.
Yeah, but it's interesting on you know the numbers there, which I thought were very impressive. So, Maddy, you like a lot of startups recently, you began your journey in January of 2019. So you had... Well,
we didn't really. So I mean, I actually founded the business in July 2017, but we just incorporated in January 19.
Uh-huh.
So we had a bit of a head start. So it wasn't as bad as just starting, having a year, and then going, oh God, what is this? But yes, we decided that we needed to be a limited company after being sole trader for 2 years. It's massively grown the business just by having that switch in mindset, I guess.
Yep. But like a lot of businesses, you struggled to get traction in the early days, and a lot of people, and it's one of the reasons that 50% of businesses that start up fail, and the majority of them fail in their first year or two. How did you overcome the obstacles? Are there any obstacles that you could share with us that cropped up, and how did you deal with them?
So actually, I don't mean to sound big-headed, but we didn't struggle with traction in the first 2 years. We actually smashed it. It was really great. It was so great in Southampton that we moved it to Hampshire, and then it just carried on growing. Our biggest obstacle was, of course, the dreaded C word, that is COVID. That did not do us any favours in terms of our revenue. However, we still managed to grow. It was a massive hurdle. And actually I decided to franchise the business, well, act like a franchise model in January 2020. And we'd become a franchise model. We'd done all of our contracts. We'd started to get people interested. And then COVID came and we were like, oh God, what are we going to do now? This is horrible. You know, we essentially had a product which people couldn't use because it was all about going out and supporting small independent businesses who in person. So we grew our product. We grew it and we COVID proofed it, and we made it so that our discounts were accessible online so that people could access them from their own homes. We converted our physical card into a digital app, which, you know, obviously came with its own issues. One of our biggest issues, and I'm really open to talking about this, is actually choosing the right suppliers to work with. We have had some of the worst experiences with the worst people who I've just liked as people and just gone, oh yeah, we'll work with you. You seem all right. My biggest thing now, when you're choosing suppliers to work with, get recommendations, get testimonials, find out case studies, see what they've done in the past, because getting the wrong person to do the wrong job is sorely damaging. But we've got determination, we've got grit, and we've bounced back from everything. And despite COVID not even being able to sell our product, we still increased our revenue last year, which still not really sure how we did that, but we did.
Yep. So it's a great testimony to your grit and determination. So, Maddy, you decided to get a mentor in the form of a minority shareholder to come along for the ride. What value did that create in the relationship, particularly in the early days when, you know, owning a business by yourself, which is what the vast majority of business owners in the world are doing? How did you get that person to put their arm around you and give you some guidance?
It was actually their idea. So I think we partnered with a company called Fizz Benefits really early on in the day. Jason has just been amazing for us in terms of support. He's always there for me to run decisions by. If he thinks I'm making a mistake, he'll tell me. Sometimes I ignore him. He doesn't like that so much, but he's just been great. And, you know, we've now got some bigger shareholders. We're just kind of in the process at the moment of creating a board, which is exciting. And they keep me in check. And if I am doing something wrong, I know about it fairly quickly, which really helps. I think taking on a business and doing absolutely everything, so it's all in your own head, it can be really frustrating. It can be confusing. You can feel torn. And you know, this is also about getting the right suppliers and getting the right people on board to support you in your journey. And I feel like we've got a great team now, and we're ready to grow. Yep.
Well, I have a saying is that show me a person that never makes a mistake, and that's a person I never want to work with. Show me a person who keeps making the same mistake. Again, I don't want to work with them either.
That's much. No, I actually really like making mistakes, and I love discovering when I've done something wrong in a way, because it gives me a springboard to go and fix it, which means that we're going to grow. You can't improve if you don't make mistakes. So I think they're actually equally as important as the successes.
Yep, absolutely, 100%. So, Maddy, you've built up over 11,000 followers on LinkedIn. Did you use any strategy to that, or did it all just happen, or, you know?
Well, there is a strategy behind it. It's not a particularly scientific one. I used to work in recruitment, and back in the day, LinkedIn was very much a recruitment software. It was very much for connecting with HR people. That's kind of what it was used for. So because I was in from very early on, I've grown fairly steadily. But my main strategy on LinkedIn is being myself and not selling to people all the time. I don't constantly ram my product down people's faces, down people's throats, not down their faces, that's a bit weird. But I talk about things that I think will interest the people who follow me. I've just turned on LinkedIn creator mode as well, which is a new thing. I'm just seeing how that works. But already I've had a couple of people come to me and say, oh, I've connected with you because I can see that you like to talk about corporate social responsibility. You like to talk about reward and recognition. You like to talk about money saving. So that's how I kind of position myself. And I'm just honest and I'm myself, and I talk about my failures, I talk about my successes, I talk about when my children do weird things at the weekend, and it's about being a normal person, because people connect with people. They don't connect with, I mean, yes, of course they connect with brands, but they connect with the person behind that brand probably more so than they connect with the brand itself.
Yep. And I guess, Maddy, social media is a fairly strong strategy on how you're out there promoting your card. Do you use anything other than LinkedIn?
Everything. So we're very big on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I hate Twitter, but I'm on it. I tried TikTok for a while, but then I realized I wasn't funny and I can't dance. So that we're still on TikTok. I kind of repurposed my content for TikTok. Clubhouse as well. So I've been quite an avid user of Clubhouse from the beginning. I've distanced myself a little bit from it recently, because too much time talking to people, sometimes too much, is not great for your mental health. It's brilliant for networking, but you need to have the time after networking, as you well know. You need to have the time to follow up with those people. You need to have the time for one-to-ones. And actually, I was getting really overwhelmed with Clubhouse. So I've taken a step back, and I'm only on a couple of times a week now.
Yeah, and I've noticed that in the statistics. As an Android user, I was banned from Clubhouse until very recently, so I haven't really got on there myself. But I've been following the stats where they had a massive spike in January or February, and then all of a sudden it dropped off the cliff in March and April. So
I think it was timing, and the Android thing was really bad. I think it was too exclusive, and it annoyed a lot of people not being able to get in. To the point where they were so annoyed that when they were allowed in, they were like, screw you, Clubhouse, we don't want to be involved. So I'm not sure how long it's going to last. I know that LinkedIn are planning their own kind of voice platform, and I'm very excited to see what that brings, because I think LinkedIn is definitely my favorite place to be. Okay.
So if you only had one platform to advertise on, if would it be LinkedIn?
Difficult question. I think so, yes. I think because there are consumers on LinkedIn, we have a product which is suitable for the consumer market, but also for the corporate market. So LinkedIn, I think, more people just need to realize that actually consumers are on LinkedIn. We're all consumers. We all consume things. So yeah, I'd say LinkedIn's definitely where I'd stay.
Yep. I actually ran a survey recently that because I've noticed there's been a lot more "what did you eat for your Sunday lunch" topics going on LinkedIn, which is why I got off Facebook. But it's interesting. I guess everybody likes to see the human part of it as well as the business.
I think so. I think so. It's about getting to know people, and if you like somebody, then you go and see what they do in a business, professional capacity. I don't go as far as posting what I've had for Sunday lunch. I post about things which are relevant to my brand, relevant to other people who are following me. So, for example, I'm on a fitness journey at the moment. So I'm trying to lose weight. I'm using a really, really great exercise class, which you can get discount on with my VIP card. I use that to tie into what my content is. So it's not just, oh, I went to the gym today. It's, I went and did my exercises, I'm doing this. And actually, if you want to do a personal fitness training program, you can also save money on it through my VIP card. So all of it, even down to my polls, there is a strategy on LinkedIn. So, my polls, I'll be asking people, what's their favorite takeaway? Where do they do their supermarket shopping? How much money do they, how long does their salary last them? Do they want to make it stretch further? And those types of questions get me more followers, because people then go, what's she talking about? And then they go and follow me for that purpose.
Great points there. And I know polls are becoming very, very popular. So
they get loads of engagement. They really do. But just, it's not as, but people need to have a strategy behind that poll. It's not just, what's your favorite meat? What did you have for your Sunday dinner? Is it pork, chicken, beef, lamb, whatever? Yep. There needs to be a purpose behind that content. And I'm always talking about how you can repurpose your content. So I've used a lot of my polls to go and get press attention. So, you know, talking about how many people are shopping local, talking about where you spend your money, how you do your shopping, what are your habits. And we've used that to go and do surveys with our audience. So it works really well for getting PR.
Yeah, and you're pretty good at that. And I know some of it you probably would like to avoid on how you got on there. I know you've had some health issues and whatnot, but you seem to be the person in demand for TV and appearance interviews with some of the issues.
Yeah, I've just been cast in. Yeah, I've just been cast in a Hollywood film as well, just because they love me that much. No, I am very, very honest about the fact that I have had mental health problems in the past. You know, I suffer with anxiety, and you know, more people need to be open and honest about the way that they're feeling. And I was on BBC News last week talking about postpartum psychosis. If in my mind, if that interview helps just one person to realize that they're not alone and that something's wrong, then I've done my job. So, you know, I'm not always out there promoting my business in these PR things. You know, I'm out there promoting my personal brand and helping people, which in turn raises awareness for what I'm doing business wise.
Yep. So, Maddy, you know, what one tip would you give for people in a similar situation? Because mental health issues, you know, at the forefront of a lot of conversations around the world right now due to, you know, lockdown and other things. So what would be the one thing that people are struggling with, that piece of advice you'd give for anybody that's struggling with their mental health?
Step away from the screens, pick up the phone and speak to people. You know, BT once said it's good to talk. I still stand by that. And, you know, it's very, very, very important that social media doesn't consume people. You know, I stopped watching the news, and it's not because I don't care about what's going on in the world. It was so negative that it was having a really bad impact on me. So I now choose the news. So you know, if I want to go and look at something, I'll look at BBC rather than looking at newspapers, because I know it's going to be more factual based rather than sort of catastrophizing or like dramatizing situations. It's really important to stay abreast of like what's going on in the world. You know, I can't avoid that, and I need to because of my product and because of my business. But staying away from social media, now I use social media to promote my business. I don't really spend time scrolling because it's just mind numbing, and it really can overtake you if you let it. So try and get some space where you can be alone and relax. So like meditation for me, hypnotherapy, just talking to people about your problems and being open and honest. You know, if you're struggling, it's not that stigma that it used to be, and telling people that you're struggling will help you. It really will. And I know it's hard, but there are so many places out there where people can get advice and support. It's just, you know, a problem shared, a problem halved. It's a lot easier when you talk to somebody and when you tell people that you're struggling.
Great. And I'm sure there's some people that'll take that away. Maddy, being a mum, and you know, you take your child and children everywhere with you, and
I do.
How do you balance all of that? Because there's a lot of working mums and working dads that they're trying to balance a business, and with COVID, with schooling and everything else. So what would be a couple of things that you'd do there?
Well, I try really hard to, and sometimes this is to my own detriment, but I try really hard to make sure that I'm doing what's best for my children and what's best for my business. Sometimes that means that I lose out. So I've got a week off booked next week. I'm going to a spa. I'm going to go and get my nails done. I'm having a week off where I can just look after myself. But I need to do that more. So my advice to any mums or dads who are working parents: block your time out. Equally, you need work-life balance. You know, I can't go out there and shout about how amazing our rewards are and how much they give you a work-life balance if I'm not utilizing them myself and taking advantage of that. So it's really, really important when you are blocking out your time that you allow time to spend with your children, you allow time to spend with your family, you allow time for self-care. I have very, very, very strict rules on when I work and when I don't work. I have an afternoon nap every single day without fail, because it helps me with my mental health. And if anybody tries to stand in the way of my afternoon nap, they're not my friend. So they need to realize that I work really hard, but I work in my own hours, in my own time. And this is why I'm so unemployable, and I never want to go back to the employment world.
I think there's
I have way too many conditions.
few people in that boat. So, Maddy, I know you're a bit of a serial networker. What would be the couple of things that you must do and a couple of things that you must not do when you're out, for those that are out there looking to start doing more networking?
Okay, so I network far and wide. It's always been my motto that I network wherever I am, in whatever state. So if I'm taking the kids out somewhere, I will network with people. Like people don't see just chatting to people as networking, but I do. I'm always growing my business. So I'll go to a cafe, I'll speak to them about signing up to my VIP card. I will go to a soft play and I'll do the same. I'll take pictures and I'll do things. Networking doesn't have to mean joining a networking organization and joining, and actually doing just one thing. There are quite a few networking organizations out there that kind of almost say, all you need is us. And I don't think that's the case. I think people should network where they feel they need to network to grow their business. And I did network every single day for the first 2 years of my business. It was absolutely knackering. Recently, I found that I'm much more productive, and I've realized that actually I enjoy online networking more than I do in person. I like in-person meetings, don't get me wrong, I love the people element, but actually I find that I soak up people's vibes when I'm at networking. And if I feel like somebody doesn't like me or they're not interested in what I'm talking about, it really nags me out. Whereas you don't get that when you're on a networking call. So my biggest bugbears of networking is when somebody comes up to you and they're like, "Hi, I'm Bernard and I'm an architect," or whatever. When you go over to speak to somebody in networking, it should always be, "Hi, I'm Maddy. What's your name? What do you do?" Before I even tell anybody what I do, I always hear what they're doing. And I'm constantly thinking in the back of my mind, how can I help this person? What can I bring to the table that will help that person? And I'm not saying what will I bring to that person? How am I going to sell to them? Because lots of people go to networking and they're like, sell, 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 sell. And they don't go to networking to build connections. That's the whole reason why you go to networking. It's that know, like, and trust. And if you're going in and you're just selling to people, they will switch off. You need to build that relationship. And that relationship starts with you asking questions of the other person.
Yep, some great tips there. So, Maddy, with my VIP going global now, you'll need to do some marketing strategy, and I talk about people investing somewhere between 6 and 11% of their forecasted turnover on sponsorship, promotion, PR, advertising, marketing. Where's your direction going to be down that field?
We are currently strategizing. So we're planning, we're creating the brand that we want to go forward with, because my VIP card has served us really well until now. People understand it, they know what it is, but we think that it needs defining. So we're just currently working on how it looks, what our message is, how people resonate with it. And then we're going to go out in every single place that we can possibly imagine. I'm doing a lot of public speaking at the moment. I'm doing loads of podcasts. We are investing some money into things like billboard advertising, screens in shopping centres, but also influencers as well. We're doing a lot down the influencer marketing route. But it's an art. Marketing is an art. And it's just going to be a case of testing where it works. And then if it doesn't work, trying somewhere else.
Yep. And influencers, I've spoken to a couple of people about influencers. So we've had another couple of guests on the show that use them, and they're massive. I was seeing the other day that I can't remember her daughter's name, but Caitlyn Jenner was Caitlyn's daughter. She'd become a billionaire the other day. So and just through associations, through blogging and whatnot. So it's amazing.
They have good contacts, they have good following, and if we can take advantage and piggyback off some of those, then why wouldn't we? It's a lot easier to get to a target audience through somebody like an influencer than it is through Facebook marketing. And you know what you're getting.
It's great to see the modern world changing, and it's all very interesting for us oldies that have always done it a different way. Oh, that's good. I'm happy with that. Maddy, I won't hold you up anymore. It's been great to have you on the show today, and I'm sure there's a few things that people can take away with that can recognise and empathise being in the same position as yourself. Thank you very much for your time, and I wish my VIP card and everybody associated with a great journey. You'll have a lot of fun.
Thank you very much, and watch out for our rebrand and our rename. So yeah, it's coming very soon. Thanks for having me.
Been a pleasure. Thanks, Maddy.